Hello, good morning, Evelyn again on the mic. Another day, another edition for a program on occupational education. Good morning, Solomon. Thank you for making this possible today. Good morning, Dr. Coach.
Good morning, Madam Evelyn. Good morning, Bamenda. I hope we're having a nice weekend. We're ready to go today.
Good morning, dear listeners. Good morning, Baminda. I hope everybody's doing great this Saturday morning.
Good morning to our listeners. Good morning, everyone. And I hope your weekend is going smoothly and you're enjoying your day.
Good morning, Bamenda. Good morning, our favorite listeners. And I just wish you a blessed weekend.
Good morning, listeners. This is Cabral Frank speaking.
Thank you so much. We are here again for another discuss on occupational learning. We've been actually looking at choosing the right kind of education. And today we would really love to hear from our listeners. We will appreciate your feedback. If you've been listening to us, if you've been following through with the discussion from when we started towards the end of last year, we've been handling different threads on the education subject, and for the past 2 weeks or so we've been dwelling on choosing the right kind of education and addressing how our educational choices have been made so far, what criteria has been used, and at this point, we've been looking at pro-choice and pro-industry. What has been the guiding principle in choosing education for parents, for as well as the learners concerned? And we realize that majorly educational choices have been made on the basis of pro-choice, like what I want, what I always desire, my passion, my emotions, and probably how much money I have or don't have, and all of that. And we realize that those are the wrong premises or the wrong criteria in deciding what education should be. And we talked a little bit on a pro industry as a basis of choosing what kind of education should be given or a prize by the learner. And so, Dr. Coach, today we would like to dwell more on pro-industry, because that is the basis of choice of choosing education according to the imprimatur or explicit approval. As far as the right to education is concerned, the rights do not come with ambiguation. The rights have direction. The rights have standards to be followed. Otherwise, you will not be able to tell whether a right is being abused or it's actually being fulfilled. And so we realize that both duty bearers as well as rights holders, those seeking the fulfillment of those rights, those owning the rights because they are inherent, duty bearers are just like policymakers and governing bodies to protect and ensure that those rights are not abused. And so today we would like to talk more on pro-industry as the basis of choosing the right kind of education.
Yeah, Madam Evelyn. Though I can help to have us still ruminate on the idea of the concept of pro-choice. Remember, we are doing campaigns across schools where we're getting a lot of feedback, especially for children who are writing the A-levels. And, when we're trying to get in touch with parents also, with the parents of these kids that are writing, that are about to get the write the A-level for 2023. And, in our interaction with the last couple of weeks, we've had very interesting feedback about what children want to do, what they want to do. I recollect 3 of such remarks that we got in our outreach to the schools. We've been reaching out to different schools. Some of the schools we've been reaching out to. I think we've reached out to
Progressive,
Sacred Heart.
St. Paul's
St. Paul's.
Comprehensive.
We've been to PSS Markham this year.
Not yet. We're still
Okay,
so.
so PCHS, I think so.
Yeah.
Some of the remarks are quite are quite interesting. You remember we had a situation when we asked for feedback from 3 students in a school in one of such schools, and we asked for feedback about what or basically posed the question about what they wanted to study after advanced level. And what we heard was, I want to be. I think in this regard, I want to be. One of them was I want to be a medical doctor. The other one was I want to have a good professional job, and the other one was I want to make money. So it's interesting because when we went further to actually investigate what surrounded these ones that they had, the person that indicated that they wanted to make a lot of money, I asked the question about how then are you going to make money, and they said, well, I'm going to get to a professional institution. And I asked, okay, what professional institution is in Cameroon that helps you to make a lot of money? He says the government. As an institution, the government institution, the government is going to help you make a lot of money, and pretty much most of the other choices were around that. The other kid that wanted to be a medical doctor I asked her, why do you want to be a medical doctor? And she said, I love to be a medical doctor. Parents themselves are caught in this ambiguity. They are caught in this quagmire of that surrounds the choices of children. And this is a very important season because children are going to be getting the mock, and then they'll be preparing to write the GC advanced level. Therefrom, they would have to choose what type of tertiary lifestyle they're going to have, and of course, what kind of quality of life they're going to have in the future. So it is amazing to me how we still need to debunk this mythology that surrounds educational choices. There's a mythical environment around it. The practice of mythology, I think, because what would you say when it is standardly known in our society, in our minds, in our philosophy, that where are you going to get a good job from the government? What schools are you going to go that's going to give you a good job, the government? What do you have to say to that? I mean, looking at how pro-choice has affected our society, because we want to go to pro-industry, but the degree of how do you call this? The degree of the poisoning that pro-choice has on our system it goes down to the ocean floor.
Okay, Dr. Coach, I think that pro-choice for us is more like an addiction from which we can't extricate ourselves, irrespective of, because it is beyond reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pro-choice is beyond reason. It's like we are possessed by pro-choice, even if it doesn't have anything to offer. For example, honestly, when you look at the 3 examples you give, the one who says, I want to become a medical doctor. Now, this person is wanting to become a medical doctor because she just loves to be a medical doctor. I mean, this is emotions at work. Now, it's like you saying that, okay, why do you like maybe vanilla ice cream? You say, I just like the vanilla flavor. But education, especially at the tertiary level, you afford to be emotional about it without asking, without looking at the questions that really matter as to,
exactly.
Now, does becoming a medical doctor equal to success? Mm-hmm. Does becoming a medical doctor in our context,
exactly.
Because you must look at it from our given context.
Yeah.
Does becoming a medical doctor in our given context, as we all know.
And do not forget what you're seeking to say in this interaction. The other question in line with what you're saying is that would the parents choose what their children love over what will sustain their children? I mean, would they choose their tradition? Because, we are doing this across schools, and we've been doing this over years. Sometimes it is also parents who say, I want my child to become... We've had a situation where a child has quit from IT, information technology, to go and become a medical doctor because they love to become a medical doctor. Those are obsolete methods of choosing what you have to become, tertiary career paths in Africa, very obsolete. That is basically what surrounds it is basic traditiousness, is traditionality. Yeah, the age old practice of choosing. And do you understand the parents will do that for pride?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Now you name, there are very few parents there who have good reasons why they want their children to become medical doctor. I would dare the community, I would dare the population to call me and tell me about that. I would dare somebody on this call listening to this channel to call me and give me a valid reason why they want their child, they want WANT, why they want their child to become something specific. I do not understand that an economy that has lived for over 50 years, that has been for plus 50 years in existence, still chooses from WANT. I want my child. I want you. Who are you to want? Because you're not the person paying for that profession. Your wants are not important. What you want your child to become is not important. What the child wants to become is not important. These are some of the corridors that we must navigate through. The hard talk, the basically narrow path, right?
yes, and we've actually been promoting that for, I mean, a long time.
Very long
Would you
time.
imagine that in counseling of students,
Right.
they are encouraged to choose based on what they have been passionate about, what they want,
Yeah.
what they want to become,
Yeah.
irrespective of whether that thing they want is actually what will meet their needs first, if it can even meet their needs. And Dr. Coach, now that you spoke, please, our listeners, you can call us. I mean, we will really appreciate your feedback as we progress on the CBC Radio 653-251-985. CBC Radio 653-251-985.
Thank you. Going back again to the discussion on pro-choice, which must be debunked before we talk about pro-industry, I would like to listen to a few of our pundits here talk about their pro-choice experience as they left high school and had to make choices in tertiary education. Can we begin with Faithful?
Thank you, Dr. Coach, for this opportunity.
Now, what was your experience as you quit a high school, as you left high school, forgive me, and you head towards the university or towards tertiary, making a choice for tertiary education? What basically motivated you? What was the reason that you choose to become what you choose to become before you walked into occupational learning? I mean, did you have your family member meet together and bring in an economist before they decide what you wanted to choose? Did you consult a specific sector-specific practitioner and investigate that? Or did your professor in high school educate you about that? How did you get to the point of making a decision about what you were supposed to study from high school? Am I correct, Madam Evelyn? Because this seems to be like it's an easy decision. I'm not the one of the persons that says it's an easy decision, not for our society, for parents, not at this point in time in terms of the global economic landscape of things. So, can you?
Yeah, so when I left the high school, I was so excited to just complete. And what was on my mind is my passion. That was my focus. And that landed me to the nursing profession, because I had this passion of always seeing people happy, always serving, and like the passion was my drive at that time. And I had other choices like getting into transport and logistics and economics and banking and finance and those multiple options. And the only thing was choice driven was for the money and for the passion. Those two things.
Yeah, but even at that, thanks for that experience. But even at that, what are the remarks on that experience? The point is that pro-choice itself, once you choose without valid reasons itself, without cogent evidence, there's what you call in economics contingent probability.
Yeah.
Contingent probability. The contingent probability for you to align that with reality and with success is completely not even existential. Because you said your passion for nursing and logistics, and then you mention money. Do you know how erratic that is? Because I don't see how what you said, how your passion led to money. I've not heard anything about you saying someone from the industry, from the other side of life. There's some part of this life called the other side of this life, which is the side of people who are actually working in this life for money, which is the side of those who do not write concours to make money, the backs on which the economies that we love so much are built. Is that correct?
You're right, sir.
So I don't even see the connecting dot. You see that pro-choice itself can become pro-choice because you cannot even connect it to an economic process.
Yeah.
No, it's not promulgated. It is not triggered from an economic process. It's this passion and emotion trigger choices. Again, we want to hear from Fi over here. What was your experience? Was it different from Faithful's, or what literally led you after the A level to make a decision about what you wanted to become? How did that go down for you?
My experience was actually completely different. I was literally just following the crowd. Most of my friends at the time wanted to go to the University of Boya, so I just joined the bandwagon and said, all right, that's where we're going to be, guys. It's Boya then.
Boya then. You realize that and do you think we have that do you think we've had that in the past, where children just continue as eternal students? Their profession is to remain students. I mean, there's one thing, and they keep choosing one tertiary institution from one tertiary institution to another, and there are parents that are in support of that. Oh no, let them just go and have advanced level now. Oh, let them just go and have first degree now. After the first degree, we'll see what to do. What world are you talking about? Because is it not strange that parents paint a picture of a baby petting nan-one world to children that does not exist? Because the world out there is more gruesome and it's more cruel when it comes to your lack of readiness than what parents will. So I don't know whether actually parents plan to be eternal parents to their children, and the children plan to be eternally dependent on the parents. What do you have to think about this motion, this environment where children just have this incessant, continuous drive from one tertiary level to another, irrespective of what they want to do?
Dr. Coach, I think that there is a lot of dissonance when it comes to what we choose and what we expect. Believe you me, you cased it very well when you said like there is a kind of continuous drive to continue to study, on the part of parents as well as on the part of the students or their kids, who keep going from one level to the other without thinking about what the outcome will be.
But when a parent in Cameroon says, let them go to the university first,
that is why
that statement in my mind?
So that is why I'm talking about the dissonance. Because these very parents will cry foul after they've gone to the university, gotten the first degree, gotten the second, until they get to the last one, and then fall back on them. They will cry foul, complaining how, they thought that they will go to the university and after that they will have jobs, because that is what is at the back of their minds. They are sending them there so that they can stand the chance of having jobs. Yeah.
My God, me time will fail me to talk about how fallen a man must be that for 50-something years a thing doesn't work. I'm going to go to the university and come back and make a job. Can you tell me where there is an economic statement in that? I'll go to the university and come out and have a job. Can you tell me, economically speaking, scientifically speaking, using commonsensical knowledge, common sense, which they say is not common, can you tell me how going to the university gives you a job after?
Dr. Coach, I'm sorry to disappoint you, because I don't have the answer. Neither does the university have the answer. Because the university does not. Listen, Dr. Coach.
Exactly.
The problem is not the university. The problem is the person who is seeking and looking for a future and does not know where they can turn to get that future.
Beautiful.
Because the university is innocent. Listen. Today, I want to make a statement, an open statement. The university is innocent. Because as an academic institution, it is just doing what it was built and designed to do. It does its job very well. Because it was designed to be hypothetical and theoretical,
Not
not
to produce
expected
any-
to produce an
any
immediate or
result.
practical result. That is what academics is. So the problem now is you, the person seeking
Yeah.
education or seeking training, it is left to you
Beautiful.
to know what you want,
Yeah.
and then to know where to get it from.
Right.
Now, for you to want work and then you go to a non-work environment to get work,
Bravo, bien joué.
so
Bravo, bien joué. So beautiful, because I mean, one thing that stands out tall in what you just said is that for decades we've gone to school. Take out one Cameroonian or even an American where there is a mafia practice of academia. Take out one of these people and ask them, please, can you define academia? Do you know you just define academia? Hypothetical, theoretical, not expected to produce any results. Madam, where did that definition come from? The dictionary. The
What word
dictionary
dictionary?
definition of academia is that it is not expected to produce
an
any
immediate
result.
practical result.
Any practical result. So you send your child to something that is not expected to produce results, and you expect them to be paid like the engineer of Toyota is paid. For a minute there, I think we need to go on holidays when it comes to school for a minute there, and then come back and then redo what school is supposed to be, because the most basic definition of school has been basically manipulated with. And you said something very crazy. The universities are doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Nobody asked you. Going to the university is not really bad. Going to the university and expecting to work is bad.
That's the problem. That's where the problem is.
Now, I ain't saying that going to the university is bad. I'm so grateful that you were able to create this nuance about that today, because we're not here to tell you not to go to the university. We're here to tell you to stop expecting to work when you go to the university, because it's a criminal issue. It's a crime to expect to work when you go to university, because it's a hypothetical environment. They teach others who 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 teach others. There's nothing we are using in that environment in this society. When I need somebody to service my car radio, I need to take it to an actual technician who has an electronic background. When I need somebody to service my car, I need to take it to an automobile technician who has actually a background in automobile mechanics. When I need somebody to service my TV screen, when you need somebody to service your toilet, you take it to a plumber. When have you ever taken it to a graduate from the university? The only way these people get to earn a franc is through social service. What the government is doing. And these are the people who drain the society dry with their expectations. 7 degrees, and you think that Mogamo is going to dismiss their manager because you have 7 degrees in managing blackboard and chalk education. Is it not strange how draining it is? You know, the worst thing then in this talk is that the workforce that we need in the Northwest region, all of them are in the University of Bamenda.
Yeah.
Learning from people who have never touched a pin before.
People who do not work. I mean, like, you want to work.
When you were growing up, Madam Evelyn, did your parents not hold their ears and tell you not to lazy around? It's a question.
My God.
Since when was laziness an official thing? That children are spinning around the campus with elderly people, mentoring them from nothing.
To nothing.
I mean, we were
Mentoring
warned
from
in this
nothing to
society.
nothing.
I'm 42 years old, and I know I was warned by my parents. I was even slapped a couple of times when I lazied around and I didn't wash plates. They told me in life that doing something is what matters in a family. In a family, when you were growing up, you had to contribute. Am I correct?
Yeah,
You
you have your own
eat
chores.
when you finish eating. When did you start washing plates? When you grew up? When did you start? When they were still weaning you, if you're not careful in our days, they could take you out of breast milk and put a plate in your hand.
Yeah.
In our days, it wasn't easy.
Age
4. Immediately
Age
your
3, age
bones
4.
strengthen up and you start working. Your mom puts a broom in your hand. When you are just creeping and says, you go sweep that dirt that you put out there. That's what I don't know how when we became adults, we went to universities to learn indolence. Official environments for indolence. So you could come up with brown files at Commercial Avenue and stroll at Commercial Avenue in the middle of people walking, selling plumbing equipment, in the middle of people selling clothes, in the middle of people selling flat screen TVs, in the middle of people working, in the middle of technicians, people who make life happen.
You go there to look for a job.
You go there to look for a job with your first
If
degree.
you wanted to work there, what sent you to the other direction? So please, we are really trying to draw a dichotomy between education and non-education. And then the environment.
Exactly.
The environment of education. You should first of all know what you want.
Beautiful.
So that it will guide you on where to go to get it. And that is why we are asking the question that our pro-choices lead us to pursue academics, but our expectations, our expectations.
And one of the maddest experiences.
Conflict.
Exactly. And one of the maddest experiences, I like the reiteration on that. We are discussing choosing the right kind of education. And in choosing the right kind of education, we have two subtopics we're talking about there, pro-choice and pro-industry. And because pro-choice is such a devil, we need to basically cast that devil out officially in our society. Now, one of the worst one is how, for example, do you think when you import your devils, or you export them, I'm just asking a question, like, do you think the way of dealing with devils is through import and export? Because we export and import the same devils. Are you following my point?
Yeah.
Cameroonians are importing academia from outside as if that makes a difference. You sit in Cameroon and you're doing online academic courses while plumbing equipments are waiting for you out there to plumb toilets. Are you understanding my point? You sit in Cameroon and you take your child and you send them far across the world like Christopher Columbus. Are you listening to me? So they can go and exploit whether academic education that is not working in Cameroon can work out of Cameroon. It's so crazy. I am surprised how we would spend millions of FCFA Cameroonian parents sending their children to go and learn the thing that has caused Cameroon to be the way it is outside, hoping that if they learned it outside, it's still that colonialism that's in our brain. Because it's like, listen, it doesn't, if you can get the bad outside is still better than the bad here. Bad is bad.
Bad is bad no
Academia,
matter where it is, whether it's inside or outside.
Academia is academia, whether it's taking place by Washington, they say, it's still academia. It does not change. A thief in the US is a thief in Cameroon. Listen, those thieves don't change by getting into the plane. There is no thief changing equipment in a plane that changes a thief to a saint. Academia in the US, in Cameroon, in Canada is the reason why global world growth is 3%. 3%. We as a world, 7.144 billion people are growing at 3% in 2023 after we've been long on earth. Listen, if we were tenants on earth here, we're not paying rent. Because of this, we will not be able to pay our house rent. Because we're growing at 3%. As a world, we are growing at 3% at this time.
Because of our pro-choices.
This is stunted growth with all the planes in the air, with all the cars, with all the computing. And International Monetary Fund statistics says we are still growing at 3%. 3%. 3%.
And Dr.Coach, worst of all, hunger and poverty, poverty and hunger remains our most...
Can you imagine?
I mean, like, I remember in the year 2000 when the Millennium Development Goals were put in place.
Yeah.
The goal 1 was eradication of extreme poverty and hunger.
Right.
That was goal 1. And after that Millennium Development Goals were put in place, we had the Decade of Education for Sustainable Development that was launched back then from 2005 to 2014, where education was supposed to be tailored towards sustainability.
Right.
And education was nominated as the motto.
The driver for change.
Yeah, for change. The motto for change back then. And the Millennium Development Agenda was to run from 2000 to 2015. So 15 years after that agenda,
yes,
when the world leaders came together and they met to evaluate,
right,
you would have expected that
Eradication of poverty,
goal
goal
one
one
should maybe
be
move
moved
to goal maybe 8 or
18 or something.
goal maybe 5. I mean,
Yes.
like to shift position.
I really want to hear this.
But 15 years after, it was exactly in the same location.
So
where
you're
it
telling
was.
me that in the Millennium Development Goals, 15 years after, eradication of poverty was still a big mathematical
And
problem
hunger.
to solve. Hunger. We are still suffering
Poverty
from
and hunger. I
A
mean,
world
food,
that still suffers from
food,
hunger.
subsistence.
So the reason,
Sustainability.
So the reason I like this statistics that you brought in place, because sometimes when people hear about the need for the society as a whole, the global community, to move from academia, hypothetical education, to education that directly is taken from those who are already meeting needs in the society, we play with it when we still suffer from hunger as a community.
And
We
so
joke with it when we're still suffering, when we're still trying to eradicate poverty. Imagine a world, 7.144 billion persons, still struggling with poverty eradication
And food.
still choosing wrong education.
pro-choice. And please, Dr. Coach, to nail my point. What did we do
Yes?
during that time window where educational systems and policymakers were called upon to redesign
I think I have an answer to that
education?
question.
During that time, we shelved. We shelved it. We shelved those documents because, as a member of UN, all the policies and all the imprimatur and the international machinery that is put in place, we are supposed to comply with it.
Yeah.
Because we have a signatory.
And when you say we, what do you mean by we?
When I say we, I mean
We.
We.
You mean we?
I mean we.
Everybody
I
that's
mean
the we part of the we,
yeah.
the WE.
Yeah.
The we.
We.
We parents.
We parents,
We children choosing education.
we families,
We families.
we community,
We
the
communities.
society, we regions,
We parents who
we
love to
nations.
say children must, MUST, go to the university and obey the shrine of going to the university for nothing.
And
Sounds like a Ku Klux Klan stuff to me.
so now we are in the Sustainable Development Agenda, not Millennium Development Goals any longer. Another 15-year phase was enacted in what we know as the Sustainable Development Goals. That was launched in 2015
Right.
to 2030. We are in 2023. Now, when these goals were launched, again, education was the place that was the go-to area, whereby the Education 2030 agenda was put in place. In this Education 2030 agenda, that was enacted in Incheon, Nagoya, South Korea, when World Education Forum, they came together
Right.
to chart another course for education in order to drive
Right.
the Sustainable Development Goals.
Good.
And these goals, we have Goal 1, eradication of extreme poverty.
Oh, it became extreme poverty.
Extreme poverty. And then Goal 2,
Oh, wait, are you kidding me?
Goal 2,
Okay.
zero hunger.
Oh, wait a minute.
Sustainable Development Goals. Goal 1 is eradication
What
of
was
extreme
Millennium
poverty.
Development Goal 1?
It was eradication of extreme poverty and hunger. Now, in the Sustainable Development Agenda,
They separated it
we had to separate it.
because it was an issue.
It was
they
a
had to
dire-
separate the poverty from the hunger.
From the hunger,
and
so
put it
that
as
each
two
one can be
separate
tackled.
articles.
So that each one can be tackled separately.
Because of course the side effect of choosing the wrong kind of education brings a hunger that looks like it's bedeviled, right?
But now in the Education 2030 agenda,
Right.
wow, what is the vision? Our vision. For that Education 2030 agenda, the vision is transforming lives through education. Recognizing that education is the main driver of development. So education, listen, the question is, do we understand education? Do we understand its role? Do we understand its relevance as far as development is concerned? Because African governments, to the African population, right down to individuals, because in the right to development, every person and all peoples are entitled to contribute to they are entitled to participate in, to meaningfully participate in development, so that they can fairly share, to be able to share in the benefits resulting therefrom. You are supposed to, as a person, to meaningfully participate, to contribute, and then to enjoy.
So you don't have the right to enjoy without
No.
participating.
That's the
So
problem.
I want to ask a question. How do parents think about, do parents have the future of the children in mind when they ask them to subject to hypothetical education? We need to change those words, academic education, to hypothetical, because when we say academic, people think we're talking about the normal thing. But academic is actually hypothetical, just as you quoted.
Yeah.
So my point, while you said all this, and Madam Evelyn, I will put a mic to your mouth and go on my knees and pray for you to talk to the world, because, you really deliver it. So it's amazing. I look at you and I'm like, this is what the world should be listening to. We are talking about education from the point of the view beyond the United Nations, from Cameroon, at the CBC radio. We are discussing things that I don't think in the UN are being discussed at the level that is being discussed. The statistical econometric analysis about how education ought to be provable in our society, how young people need to depend on it, and how parents need to consciously choose that. As you said, it was put there for that.
Yeah.
Knowing that could be something that parents can go to bed sleeping, knowing it can provide the level of independence and the level of flexibility that children need to use to create their own world in the future. The young generation doesn't need to go through what the old generation went through. They don't need to. Parents should stop incarcerating children in academic education that leave them at the mercy of non-existing employment.
That's the problem. That's the problem, Dr. Coach, because the question is, if we don't see education as a solution science, we don't see education for what it is, to actually empower and bring independence to the learner, we send them to where at the end of the day they'll be dependent.
No, thank you so much. That dependency, that's what I was hitting. What did the law say about dependency from overseas aid? Can you talk to me about new approach to international development that focuses on
capacity building,
participation,
and
sustainability? And it says that
sustainability is actually, I think, the greatest of the concepts, because it says that it takes out overseas aid by empowering the beneficiaries
of the development
process to take charge
of
the
their
development.
Take charge. I don't understand the fear and the abuse that our society, in terms of those who are supposed to be mentoring children and parents to be concerned. I don't understand how when you don't think your child can take charge, what that does to the IQ. And international law says that the human person, that all, what does it say about the endowed? All human beings are born free and endowed with dignity and endowed with a reason and a conscience. So first of all, human right abuse starts at home.
It is
From
an
the
abuse.
House. When you choose an education that does not ennoble the reason and the conscience of a child, and it does not betoken the child to focus on reason and to be mentored by reason, then you have allowed that child to become a victim of whatever will happen to that society.
Dr. Coach, and that the critical aspect here is the fact that in the midst of our declension,
right.
We've been in declension. Our economy has been in declension for as long as I remember, because I know, I have lived it. We are still going about things as if all things were equal. When you are sending your child to go and learn something so that the child will look for a job, you don't even reflect for once, do the jobs exist? Even if the jobs existed, because listen, Dr. Coach, another thing I want to debunk here is the fact that unemployment is not the absence of jobs or of work. Unemployment, your unemployment does not mean that jobs and work does not exist, because there is a lot of work. There is a lot of work and there are a lot of jobs. Your problem is that
you're indolent.
You are not needed. You don't have what it takes to work. You don't have what it takes to work. You have not been
So
trained.
you're saying unemployment exists? Can you imagine in a world where world growth is 3%, people are saying there's no work?
With so many problems and needs that we have.
Understand.
With so many problems and needs
In
that
this
we have.
Northwest, do you know we have more work in the Northwest than in the US? Huh?
More work,
More
opportunity
work,
in
more
Africa
opportunities
than
in
anywhere
Africa
else
than
in the
anywhere
world.
else in the world.
Because of the problems and the needs that we have.
More problems, more work.
More problems, more work, more needs, more work,
needs, more money.
more work opportunities, more opportunities to make money. Because money is made through solving problems
No,
and meeting
money
needs.
is made through it being dreamed about, that it was actually under the ground like diamond somewhere, that you need to dig it out by traveling and going to some place to dig it out. How about that?
Fellow listeners, Dr. Coach, with all due respect, when the thing we even call money, what we call money is not money. Like it's not even sufficient for social services, because if it were, we will not be considered as being below emergence. Because
There is existence of money.
right?
Because there is existence of money.
There is existence of money
in Africa.
There
You see,
is.
poverty is
And
not the
so,
absence of money.
It's not the absence
It's
of
the absence
money.
of value.
And that is why we have the unemployment and the inflation and devaluation.
Right.
With so much money,
The what?
no
Value.
devaluation, no value,
Value.
no value.
Devaluation.
No value because
your money has to buy value. And if there are no people breaking their backs
Producing
providing
the value.
producing the value, if everybody is heading to the University of Bamenda
To look for the money.
Chang, to go and sit and talk and lecture and listen to words like Pythagorean's theorem and benzene, the way benzene theorem was formed in dreams and all of that stuff, and then some people are breaking their backs in town, where are you going to use that money that you go write a concours that they give you? Who are you buying that from? Because everybody was writing a concours when you were writing a concours. Nothing was being made.
that is the point. So everyone is chasing money
Instead of chasing values
instead
that
of
we
chasing
need.
value.
That's why our society looks like this.
The more the
Our society
money,
looks like what it looks like because we don't care about values. We don't sacrifice for values. The values we need every day. I need to put on a good shoe. I need to use an electronic that doesn't fail. We need actual technicians behind it. I need to go to the hospital and I need hemodialysis equipment to work 24/7. Can you imagine a challenge in our hospital, in our curative systems in Cameroon? We are still suffering with small equipment like hemodialysis machine. Hemodialysis. Do you know the medical equipment that exists in the medical industry now? Do you know medical equipments that exist? How healthcare has been technologicalized? How knowledge has transcended into a capital flight into technology, and we are still suffering with old 1922 hemodialysis equipment.
that keep breaking down.
And
And then we wait for technicians to fly in.
so your discussion
salvage.
about how education was nominated as a driving change and how we have maltreated it has landed us into consequences that nobody wants to talk about. We are retrograding with technology instead of using modern technology to advance learning, to advance our practice, to get quality of life. You go to the hospital, where's the quality of life? Guys want to count on manual work and head of the medical doctor.
In a digital era.
In an environment where he has been relegated. 99% of what medical doctors are doing in the hospital, 99%, almost 99% of what they are doing in the hospital is into technology. Well, do you use your hand to measure the heartbeat?
The temperature.
Let me start with that. Do you use that?
No, sir.
No, you start making quotations about what's wrong with somebody. You got to send them for a scan, right? MIR scan.
Yeah.
Why didn't you use your eyes? Parents want their children to become medical doctors, right? Not the equipment that medical doctors are using that makes them medical doctors. Because if you want to use medical doctorship like the way they used to saw people's legs out, without anesthesis,
In
1900. Now we have 1900 doctors in Cameroon. Because our medical system does not take into account other existing professions that are brought into place by occupational learning, by learning. And why are we suffering from that?
Dr. Coach, please, can I intimate at this point on what you just said. It's not like the health system does not make room for medical technology. The fact that we buy those equipments means that we realize that we need those equipments. But we have failed. Those who are training and those who are taking training have failed to identify our need to align ourselves to the industries and the source from which we get those equipments, so that we can standardize our training and practice to better manage and service those equipments. We have failed to realize that, and you cannot blame it on anybody or on the system. It is our failure, me as a parent,
Exactly.
my children.
Sure.
Because if I choose that my child should go and become a medical doctor, rather than knowing that, hey, but these medical equipments that we don't make, but we buy, how do we manage and service these equipments? That alone should ring a bell in my head. And then when it rings a bell in my head, Dr. Coach,
Right.
I will not take that child, if
Right.
I want the child to do the medical technology,
Right.
I will not take that child to send to someone who has read about it in books and is talking about it. I should send that child to
Be mentored
be mentored by the manufacturer
of the equipment.
of the equipment,
And that's done and settled.
so that the child can be licensed.
Yeah. So I want to ask you a
order to-
question. Parents who are sending children abroad, is that where they are sending their children?
No.
Yeah, you see,
No.
this is interesting.
That's, I mean, like.
So
no.
even when parents succeed to send their children out of Cameroon, when they succeed to gather their hard-earned money, they still send them to go and
On
sit in
pro-choice,
classrooms.
Pro-choice. Still the pro-choice.
Still the pro-choice. You would think a parent
then the
would put a
academics.
child in a plane for a different reason.
The pro-choice and academics.
Yeah.
And so time will fail us, and I mean, like, it's already running out on us, Dr. Coach. I can't imagine that we are almost getting to the end of today's program. I mean, I don't know. It's like we've just been here talking for 15 minutes, and it's already almost an hour. So, in conclusion, we are saying that parents need a lot of information. Parents need to rethink. Parents need to, first of all, just calm down, especially those parents who are fortunate to still have young children. You have the opportunity and the ability to choose differently, to choose from pro-industry. And we are saying that your child can be enrolled for occupational education, to get hands-on training and licensure from existential industries that have actual products and are involved in actual economic processes, so that this child can be trained for specific job roles by specific industries that are existing. And so we have areas like information technology, cybersecurity, biomedical technology, BMD and BEd. We have
Enterprise
resource planning.
Yeah, we have the management accounting from CIMA in the UK. We have automobile mechanics from ASE that also is in partnership with Toyota. We have certified welding program from the American Welding Society, which is a major welding community across the world. And welding has about 7 processes. Instead of doing the welding locally, I think we could do more. And the same thing with automobile. You know, our guys are trying here. They're better than all the whole university stuff, but it could be the way the industry want it to be. I think even at the level of automobile mechanics, we need to start learning in Africa from the industry and stop being arrogant. And then there's smart home as well, which is a major certification. We have those smart home certifications. I think next time when we're concluding on pro industry, we'll actually go delve into these certifications, and then you see the knowledge that the tokens that surrounds it. We have other electronic industry certifications. But remember, this is a season where children are getting out of, are going to be writing exams, are getting out of high school to make decisions. And we're not just here to talk about this, but we are having
offering solutions.
These occupational education and development solutions from the industries across Africa, working on those projects across Africa. Remember, our goal in this broadcast is to help our society experience quality of life from our own society. We don't need to hire expertise from outside. We need the money. We need the expertise. We need the money. Our goal is to have our own brothers and sisters, our own children be part of the industry work that brings the money so that we can increase the economic life, the quality of life for our society. So next week, we'll be delving deep into information technology careers, cybersecurity careers. We are also the government audit of a cybercrime through a cybersecurity division, which is our prodigy. And we are having a major biomedical project that is taking place across Africa right now from ET International. Remember, we are the Center for Biomedical we are the ETA Center for Certification Administrator Center for over 20-something electronic certifications and electronic exam, including medical technology, information technology, communication, telecommunications, renewable energy, and all of that stuff. Especially those people there with renewable energy is very needed in our society. We have the Certified Welding program. Is such a big program. We are also into that. We are also having the auto mechanics program from AS and Toyota. So if you have children in those areas already, and even if you do not, as we are recommending you to choose industry education, you can get to us
on 680-289-956. WhatsApp us on the 680-289-956.
Yes, to get more information or to get orientation and our location, you can visit our physical location as well.
Commercial Avenue, NWCA building, first floor.
And if you're also in Yaoundé, you could visit our offices. One of our offices at Carrefour Ambassade de Belgique, as the Soka Cybersecurity Division for cybersecurity inquiries or any other inquiries there is at Carrefour Ambassade de Belgique. You can't miss it out. In cybersecurity, we are actually offering training in vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, in network defense and operations, in software security, in cyber forensics. There are multiple certifications across there. We are the we are International Center for Training and Exams for EC Council certifications. And so if you're interested in cybersecurity or at whatever level, you can also get in touch with us again at the number, Madam Evelyn.
680-289-956.
Thank you so much for listening. I wish you a great
weekend
and a wonderful weekend. And I hope that we continue to meditate on the good things that will make our community beautiful rather than complain about things. Bamenda is ours. This community is ours. And let us seek to develop it. Let us seek to do good things. Let us care for each other. I appreciate you and I appreciate CBC Radio for the great opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr.Coach. Stay safe, everyone.